Hi, my name is Christopher McClinton. I'm the CMO for Finxact, and welcome to this episode of the xtnsbl podcast. Today, I'm delighted to have as a guest Cody Sheflett, who is EVP and Chief Information Officer for Primis Bank. Hi, Cody. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Chris. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So glad to have you. And on xtnsbl podcast already, perhaps you've seen some of the prior episodes, and we'll certainly have many more opportunities. This is a terrific platform for us to share with all of our stakeholders, all of those interested in following Finxact's progress, to hear from our partners, to hear from technologists, to hear from industry experts, as well as leaders with inside of Finxact, but also importantly with our clients who are out there having an experience in production on Finxact. And I think many in the audience are keen to hear from the bankers. So it's really important, and it's a pleasure to have you. So thanks for that. I might ask you before we start to talk about what you have done at Primis and what Primis has built on the Finxact platform, to just introduce yourself a bit and your institution, and maybe a short history of the Primis brand and how it's evolved over the last couple of years. It's a pretty exciting story.
Yeah, it is actually really interesting. So as Chris mentioned, I am a Chief Information Officer here at Primis Bank. And I joined the institution that is now called Primis in 2009 through a merger and acquisition. So interesting times. So lots of backstory there. But really, I think it's really interesting what we've done fairly recently in time is we had a good sized merger of two institutions back in 2017 that was really here in Virginia. We back up and say that's where we're headquartered. We're a community bank here in Richmond, Virginia. South of DC by about 2 hours time or so. But in any case, that merger in 2017 really set us up for an opportunity to be a much larger player in our footprint, our geographical footprint, Maryland, Virginia, DC area. But really put us on a path to reevaluating what we wanted to be as a community bank and where we wanted to take it. So we ran under one brand, Sona Bank at the time, and very, very early pre-COVID 2020, we brought in a new CEO. Dennis Zember joined the team and brought a vision to what he wanted our bank to be. That's sort of where we are. But it took a little while with COVID, and the PPP program in particular was sort of a genesis of what kicked off our desire to look at everything that we were doing, what the status quo was, and challenging that and determining how we could be better partners to the community at large. In 2021, we rebranded the company Primis, sort of a play on the Latin for first. It really drove everything that we were trying to do. We wanted to go from being a community bank as a brick and mortar, as we're all familiar with, and really figure out why do we do things the way that we do them, flip them on their head, find and utilize better technology, and bring those types of services to our customers in our footprint, and then ultimately to the nation at large.
Yeah, for me personally, it's a really inspiring story. I don't know if you know this, but I spent about 9 years at ABA, American Bankers Association, prior to joining Finxact. And during that time, met so many community bankers around the country and had the opportunity to help many of them execute on digital strategies and do things to try to just remain competitive. And so to see what you're doing at Primis, watching a community institution just wholly reinvent itself, do it on a next gen core platform, it's some really progressive advanced stuff, and it's fun for me to watch. My question, I think, is, for your community institution in particular, we're seeing now very clearly that institutions of all sizes are beginning to, in earnest, execute or at a minimum formulate strategies for core transformation. What were the drivers for your bank in particular? What made your executive team say, now's the moment, now's the time?
Sure. Yeah, Chris, I think you're right. I think everyone's starting to see it. For us, I think that, as I sort of previously mentioned, our new CEO was working with my technology department and the other leaders here at the bank during that COVID timeframe, and saw that we were able to serve customers that needed our help to keep their small businesses running during PPP. And I think he saw that we had the knowledge, the skill, the drive to really put together unique and flexible solutions to serve that group of individuals during COVID. And I think that really what made it a reality, and like, hold on a second, there's a lot more that we can do here beyond just what we might have been dreaming about, or that nebulous word transformation. And I think when we just kept moving down the road there late in 2020, the conversation was really like, why do we do the things that we do? What can we do differently? Why is our process that we're using now to open accounts the way that it is? Why are we a batch? Why are we not real time? Why can't we serve our customers and provide them all their services when they want them and how they want them? I mean, we all know it. It's sort of cliche that it's all mobile and everybody wants to be mobile first. But that really was a big driver for us. And that, I think, that was probably where it started is, hey, look, we've got now new customers through PPPs all over the country. Why can't we do the same for our deposits? Why can't we provide them services everywhere? So that put us on the path that we can be where customers are when they need us or when they want us through all the technology that was already available, internet leveraging and mobile apps, et cetera. But we needed to find partners that could actually drive other innovation and flexibility in that innovation to allow our customers to do business where they wanted to. Say it over and over, but where they wanted to and how they wanted to. And we know that everybody wants it on their phone. Everybody wants mobile first and digital first. And that became the driver of sort of everything that we've done since then. And that's our focus.
I appreciate you sharing that. And it prompts me to think back now to that time. I know that was a very difficult time for the country, a very difficult time in banking, a very difficult time for small businesses. But it also prompted that introspection that I think you just described on a lot of levels. But in this case, for a lot of banks who started to see the possibilities that some of the more modern technologies could really make possible. So that's really interesting. It also makes me think about that time, because it was about the time that you and your team were coming to Jacksonville, talking to the leadership team at Finxact, kicking some tires. We were in 2018, 2019, really just at an MVP stage, if you will. Had one or two banks that were willing to put the bank in harm's way for our MVP product, and it thankfully it really delivered. But you guys were there from very nearly the beginning with Finxact. That is also something that makes Primis very endears your institution to us. But I guess my question is, what did you see in Finxact at that time that aligned with the vision that you just described that was coming together for Primis around about 2019, 2020?
Sure. Yeah. It was interesting. Really, it was crazy times, as you mentioned. And I was sitting on the Virginia Bankers Association's Ops and Tech Committee, and part of that organization, we have representatives, of course, go to ABA, which you were there as well at some point in your past there. But we had some good feedback about all the new technology that was coming out and the new cores. And we heard a lot about Finxact. And so when we starting to have those conversations in the summer of 2020 with the team there at Finxact, I think what really drove us to really thinking Finxact had what we were looking for is the accessibility to the data. The data was available, was exposed, right? It was, I think some of the literature back then was like 2,600, 2,500 plus data points exposed through APIs, right? So there's a means to get to the data. And I think that was very different from what we had experienced in our banking lives, that it was by design, it was built to interact with others. And I think that open architecture, that open ecosystem was also super attractive to us, because we knew that there's a lot of new tech in the space, or was starting to really, really come along. And there were some other, I don't call them necessarily best of breeds yet at that point, but they may have become them by now. But there are so many new players in that space. And it was super attractive to get those blocks, if you will, and start connecting those and having that flexibility to put together a stack is what we call them here, but put together our own ecosystem and find our own partners that would either align with exactly what we are looking for, or with partners that were like, hey, we're really interested in going down this road with you. And we have a few of those still that they're like, we want to build out something new. We want to play on this in this new world and put it together. And Finxact's architecture and philosophy of being focus on the core, and not those, don't try to do everything for everybody, but focus on that core functionality and make it accessible was a huge driver for us, 100% of what led us to the path.
Yeah, you guys really more so than or as much as any of our clients today leaned into the openness.
100%.
We talk about things that sort of get you into the next gen category, and there's some sort of minimal criteria, if you will. I would say open is one of those. It should be API first. Finxact goes, quite a bit further than that, but that one is fundamental to the way this is going to be done going forward, or should be done. And Primis absolutely leaned into that. Maybe describe a little bit more in detail. Like you have a number of technology partners that are interacting with Finxact just completely via the APIs.
We really do. I mean, like
you are their client. It's just like we are the platform, and they are interacting with you via the platform.
Oh, sure. We have quite a few of those. And the simplest are some core service providers, not core as in Finxact core, but important service providers that leaned in with us. And they're like, we want to play in the Finxact ecosystem. We want to be a partner for us. And they wanted to learn it. And they did. They joined us. They are accessing Finxact through APIs as our vendor, right?
Yeah.
So they weren't a ecosystem partner of Finxact prior to. I am sure they are exploring other customers on Finxact because this particular vendor I'm thinking of, it provides great service for us. And they've done an incredible amount of evolution on their own side to learn how to interact with an open, API-driven, real-time core. And then we've been dabbling with some fintech partners, and they too are working with us, and they're interacting directly with Finxact APIs as our vendor, our partner, to drive some concepts that we hadn't even dreamed of back in 2020, and some opportunities that present themselves there. So we're very excited and really determined to keep promoting this open next-gen core, open API first, in all the spaces with all the vendors that we work with. If we talk to someone that wants to sell us a product or service and they are not as capable or as easily capable of interacting with Finxact, so that that's something in a con rather than a pro column. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be working with other partners that are as advanced and are thinking down the road of that open architecture, the open banking, the API first mentality.
Yeah, I love to think of it that way. That was from the start. That was like for Frank Sanchez, first principle, that it was supposed to be a catalyst for innovation, not ours per se. Fire the minds of other companies, other partners, other solutions, other institutions. Just give them the space and the tools and the platform to bring their solutions and ideas to bear. So it's working, and you are evidence of that. I guess that's a good question. So how's it working? How's it going so far for you?
Sure. Yeah, again, we've been real successful with our technology stack. Internally, we call it our new tech stack versus our legacy or heritage stack. It's going very well. So we did a pilot launch at the very end of 2021. We called it Friends and Family, and people that wouldn't sue us. I'm joking there, but we wanted to make sure it was easy and it made sense and it was as bulletproof as we could make it, and walk through, and it was very successful. And so 2022, it's all new tech, new processes, new things internally that we needed to focus on. And we did a slow roll in 2022, and we did some light marketing, some little few influencers here in our footprint, and drove a little business in. And it really allowed us to sort of stretch our legs and exercise all the technology and our internal processes and such. And we can continue that sort of slow growth roll through 2022, and really started stepping on the gas to get things going towards the end of 2022. And we were at a full gallop here in 2023. And in the first quarter in particular, we were very aggressive with our marketing. We were very aggressive getting our word out about our company. And we sort of hit a sweet spot of communicating to those customers out there that were looking for a bank that was technology and mobile first, had an excellent process for opening and managing their accounts, mobile and online, et cetera. the stat that everybody loves, and this is no secret sauce here, it's in our investor deck and such, is we opened about 14,000 accounts in about 6 weeks and roughly $1 billion in deposits. And where we were a community bank focused sort of in the mid-Atlantic and the little sprinkling of customers around the country, we now bank customers in all 50 states, including some customers in Minnetonka, Minnesota. So thank you if you're listening, folks. We love that. That internally, we used to joke that, hey, we're a success when we're banking customers in Minnetonka. And I know that our CEO, literally the first day we got one, as we're all reviewing all the results and how things are coming in, saw that on there and made a couple phone calls and just to thank them for their business and understand sort of how they found us. And they were super excited, of course, to hear from our CEO. But how amazing is that, right? All 50 states. Great spread out. I mean, literally, we have customers in all. It's amazing. So it's been a very well received. And now, look, no lie, we had some growing pains, and we're focusing back on our customer service because we were sort of inundated, and we couldn't turn the dial down fast enough to slow the roll. But
yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
That's a high quality problem to have. Just to underscore that, because that's kind of a holy smokes moment. $1 billion in deposits in 6 weeks. And this is at a time, and feel to comment on this, but this is at a time for banks where those deposits are critically important. And the deposits that you're describing, those are not flight risks. Those are high balance accounts.
Yeah. And candidly, it's interesting. And you said high balance. And let me break it down a little bit, because this is a really important stat, I think, that is important for your listeners and everybody else. Is these accounts are, what are some of the demographics? I think our age group is about, I think the average age is about, 48 to 52, something like that. But the average account balance is like about $80,000. So this isn't like hot money at $250,000 or from all, just people just looking to, and by the way, we're not top of market. We haven't had any runoff. These are customers that are happy with our solution. They're utilizing our solution. They're making transactions on our solution. We've got great features in our products. They like them. They use them. And I think that really goes to what we really wanted to do here as a company, is deliver a better product, a better solution, if you will, a service, if you will, to our customers, and do it a little differently, make it easier for them to bank with us. And I think that resonates with every customer and every bank out there, right? We all struggle for getting deposits, and our solution that we've crafted makes it easy to get makes it easy for those customers to join us, right? They find us, they can open an account in a few minutes, and they're ready to roll. And we're excited to have more of those when we are sort of ramping up our next phase. We're excited about that, and that's coming soon. And we're going to continue down this road, focusing on doing better for our customers, with them in mind first, and driving everything to be mobile first, digital first, and looking for some good feedback from them to see what else the customers might want. And then we'll work with our fintech partners or developers out there, a couple new kids in a garage that come up with a great idea, and we'll connect that to our core and provide something special, something brand new. We got some great concepts and some great solutions that we already have, but there's probably something else out there, and the ability to plug it into Finxact is everything, right? That's the name of the game for us, to be flexible.
Right on. Let me ask you this question, maybe just one or two more in the time that we have. One of the things that makes you very interesting to the audience is you're further down this path than a lot of institutions who are sort of beginning now to get their plans together. If there's like advice that you'd like to share or impart, I'm sure that it would be appreciated, whatever comes to mind.
Sure. Well, first thing I would say is, it is daunting to stand up a new core, right? Just the concept, there's a lot to it. But I think I said this actually at Forum as well, Chris. I said it, but you can do it. You get the right group of people together. You get the right teams, the will, the desire, and the focus, and good hard work, and it can be done. And Finxact's a good partner for that. Finding other players in the space, there are more and more players in that in the space, fintech or other financial services providers that are now adopting that open architecture, API driven, so that you have quite a bit more choices even than we did almost 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's completely doable. Communicate with Finxact, work with them, talk about your needs, talk about where you feel something's missing or lacking, or you need some understanding, and have those conversations. They're there to support you, right? They built this core to be successful, and by communicating and with them and they become more of a partner. And I think you'll find it is rewarding that first day you turn it on live, and it's exciting. It's about, we joked it was like giving birth and your babies and those kind of things. And then you're running out in public, and it's like you're bringing that baby home from the hospital and without a manual on how all that works. But it is doable.
How about some advice for Finxact if you got it?
Sure.
Help us to keep doing the right thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So the candid conversations, I appreciate the communication. I would say continue focusing on their delivery, right? For Finxact, is like there's always refinements and releases and enhancements coming along. And I'd say, keep driving, right? Keep after it and keep on the path. Don't always wait. Don't wait for us to be asking for a feature that, is out there. But I think that's a big part of it. I'd say we'd really like to see, honestly, a user forum. Here's something I'll throw out there, something specifically to Finxact users, where we can use as a user group and communicate to Finxact. Hey, this is what we see and what we feel, and allow us to communicate back to it. It'd be a lot easier for you guys to gauge interest in new features or roadmap items if we were all together. So that's a real good one, Chris. Yeah. That's something that's possible. I appreciate that. Boy, we would be a big partner to do that.
Yeah, you've just added a big to-do to my
sorry, Chris.
To my remit. No, it's okay.
But I think that would be great. I think
that's
that would be
excellent.
Really beneficial.
Well, I just want to thank you for being with us today. It's so appreciated. I'm sure not just by me and the folks at Finxact, but everybody that's tuning in. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your advice. And I'm enjoying the branding. I had a brief tour of your studio, which I said looks better than mine.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. We love it. Yeah, for sure. We love it.
Okay, thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Chris. Talk to you soon.